I'm a winner till the day I die. I'm a winner till the day I die. I'm a winner till the day I die.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to XTERRA and welcome to the World Cup, but more importantly, welcome to the short track, XTERRA short track. My name's Paul Groves and I'll be looking after you today with somebody who knows an awful lot about racing at the very top level. I'm joined by none other than the European Cross Triathlon Champion from 2018 and an appearance on many XTERRA podiums. Nicole, good to see you again.
Thanks for the introduction, Paul. It's really great to be here at Zittau again. We've had some really hot weather this morning, but the clouds are just starting to come over, making for some cooler racing conditions for the athletes, maybe even some rain to make things a bit more interesting.
Yeah, and in the background, if you can hear some rumbling, that's in fact the wind whipping through the tent, and hopefully it won't be too bad. Now, our leading women at the moment, these are the race favourites. Interesting mix.
Yeah, so still leading the leaderboard, they've got Alizée Paties. Second place, Luan de Vusson. She'll probably have a good result today. She's very good at the short track racing. We have Marta Menditto, great race in Czech, world champion Solenne Billouin, and also Beatrice Ferreira in there as well.
Oh, I'm going to hear from some of them.
After the main race, I just took a car with my bike, and maybe the handlebar was a bit, I don't know, not broken, but used. And I did the short track, just the swim. After the swim, I was good. And I had a little crash, very stupid, and my handlebar was broken like in two pieces. So it was very bad luck for me, I think. But at the end, I didn't race, so my legs are okay. Better than the other girl, maybe. So yeah, I'm so excited to take this kind of revenge, and especially here in Zittau.
Yes, I think it's really different with the other short track, but I really love to have the short track before because it's like a small wake up, and and then we have a bit of time to recover it in Saturday, and I really love also all the crowd is here and the party after the main race. It's really every year I think all the people who live there come to help for this event, so I really also love that, and to see all the children playing on the main place.
So we just heard there from Alizée and from Luan, and what you can see in front of us is the main feature of the short track, and it's this incredible bridge that's been constructed. This is built each year, and have you had a chance to ride on this?
I have, yes. It's a really great feature of the course.
So would you go low, middle or high?
Oh, probably the middle, I think.
We saw the athletes last year practicing on this, and there was some trepidation, and I think it was Ruben Rozafa in the men's race. He was right on the very edge of the ramp, and he said that gave him almost a whip as he came off there.
Yes, I think we'll see some of these ladies today taking a really high line around that berm, getting a bit of speed up as they exit back onto the sand again. It should be an exciting feature for the race.
The course is quite different from what we had in Prachatice. The massive climbs we saw in the woods there, that was only last week. That's gone, but we have a snappy climb as you come out of the water. If you look, where is it? Just in
just
more or less the
centre.
centre.
There,
yeah,
isn't it?
There's a very steep climb that will sort out the athletes a little bit, and then they disappear off
Yes, it's a fairly flat course today, but it's made up for in some technical features, mostly man-made technical features. So we've got some jumps, we've got some berms, there's some rolling trails through the woods and the trees, fairly twisty.
And you said it's quite rocky out in the woods.
Yeah, there's some rocks, there's some technical features. Different course in that we've not got the same elevation, so we might see some different athletes coming to the front of the race today on the bike.
Exactly. We heard from Alizée right at the start there, and she mentioned, in case you didn't quite understand what happened, after the race had finished last week in the Czech Republic, the long race, she had a collision with a car. The car stopped abruptly in front of her. She hit the back of the car, and she thinks that that's possibly what contributed to the handlebars snapping in two early in the race on the short track. So she's coming to this event having not given out all that energy over the short track, because although it's only short, I should imagine the energy that's expanded is quite enormous.
Yeah,
over
so
to the swim course.
We're just seeing the course here. So swim course, we've got 400 metres. The start and the exit for the swim are in two different places. So once they've been around the buoys once, they'll then dive back into the water again to complete another lap. Out onto the bike, we've got 4 laps of 1.5 kilometres, making a total of 6 kilometres. So lots of twists and turns through the woods, and then we'll see them tackle those man-made features as they come back around into transition. They're then going to take on the run course. So a tricky trail run. We've got 2 laps of 1.3 kilometres, making up 2.6 kilometres in total. So this takes on a similar route to the mountain bike course. We'll see them climb up that steep bank, along the top of the ridge, back down through the woods, and then coming back around into transition.
This is the fourth short track of the year, but our 5th stop on the World Cup Series.
So this is our start list for today. We can see the rankings as well of the women. So Alizée Paties sitting at the top of that leaderboard. Leander Busson sitting in 2nd place. It's very close at the top there. So we've got Marta Menditto, Solenne Billouin in there. Unfortunately, Sandra Mehlhofer won't be with us today. But we see that start list for me.
And the start list for today is based upon that world ranking, isn't
it?
Yeah. With regard to Sandra Mehlhofer, so this is in fact our start list for the race, based upon the rankings. But you mentioned there, Nicole, that Sandra Mehlhofer's not racing. She took a tumble 8 kilometres into the bike course last weekend, broke the front brake, carried on and eventually came 4th, and then went for treatment. And yes, so she's not joining us, but we wish her the very best and a speedy recovery, and see her hopefully in Molveno. So your start list there, with the bottom of the numbers there, we've got some last minute entrants. We've got from working upwards from the Czech Republic, from Germany and from Poland, and they are last minute entrants that are brought onto the mix just to add some dynamics to the race.
But 22 elite women on the start list today. I think it's going to be a really, really close race.
It will be. Looking at the swimmers there, Emma Ducreux from France, in the French uniform, she was easily the fastest. But watch out for Beatrix Ferreira there. She's been so consistently strong over these short courses in Namur, in Prachatice, and here, 24 degrees.
Yeah, I think we'll see Alizée have a good race today. She said she didn't race the short track last weekend, so she might be a little bit fresher than the other girls. But she's also going to want to take those points to maintain her lead at the top of that World Cup leaderboard.
Looking at the event from last year, Alizée won the race last year, but she worked hard on the bike, having come out of the water quite a way down the pack. The fastest swimmers we had last year aren't present, apart from Maria Kajega. She's with us.
Yep. And
what number is she
probably
wearing?
Emma Ducreux in there as well.
Emma Ducreux. Her swim in Prachatice brought her out way in front of everybody else. A beautiful stroke to watch when she's in full flow. Her swimming stroke, it's magnificent, isn't it? And that gave her such an advantage. Oh, the wind is picking up here.
Yes, I think we're about to have some rain just for the start of this elite women's race. So under starters orders, 30 seconds to go before the start of this race.
And it's a legendary event, isn't it, here? 2006 they started this.
So
And
a
they're
clean
off.
start from all the ladies. We've got a beach start today. So we'll
watch
see
out.
how quickly they can get out into that water and start with their swimming stroke.
And that blue cap there is the one we're looking for. It's more or less in the top centre, and that's Emma Ducreux. And you can see lots of work under the water, edging forwards already.
So I think we'll also be keeping a close eye out for that gold cap of Alizée.
And she's wearing the gold
usually
cap
up
because
there
she's leading.
towards the front of the swim.
Yeah, she's leading the rankings, which is why she has the gold cap. So Emma is making a line straight for that first buoy, and then they'll be turning left.
Yes, they'll turn left. There's 2 swim buoys out there. They'll then exit the water. We've got an Australian-style exit before they then enter the water again to complete another lap. So in total, it's going to be a 400-metre swim. So really short, really fast. You're not going to want to give away any time in this swim.
No, that's a comfortable turn there.
So just starting to bunch up a little bit towards the back of this pack here. It makes it more difficult if you're in a group going around the buoy. But you can see Emma Ducreux just starting to already make a little bit of a lead over the girls.
And there's the gold cap. That's Alizée, about third directly behind Emma. About fourth in the positions overall.
So they're going to make this turn around this orange buoy. It's then not too far before they then exit in the water.
And then we'll get a clear view of them, won't we?
Yeah. So just a little recap from that swim start.
And that's Karina Varsler right on the right-hand side there, choosing to use a butterfly stroke just to get into the deeper water. But immediately, Emma pulling away there. She's so strong in the water.
She's just cruising along there nicely. But no, great shot of Emma swimming. An orange cap behind. Let's see if we can pick out who that is.
Well, I think that's going to be Maria Cajega.
So you can see Solenne there in 3rd position as well. She's having a really good swim.
She is. She's well placed there. But that's Maria Cajega from Spain. She had the 3rd fastest swim last year, but behind Emma, well. So the crowds are joining the atmosphere down there to really lift the athletes as they come out.
Yes, that's a really good swim so far from Solenne. She had a great race last week in the Czech Republic, both in the main race and in the short track.
And her position that she made up was on the bike, wasn't it? As soon as she got onto the bike, that was when the power came on.
Yes, the girls aren't going to want to give up any more time to Solenne on this second lap of the swim. They're
No,
really going to
no.
want to chase hard now to stay onto her feet. I think that was Alizée that we just saw behind Solenne there.
Was that Loane coming out in the Swiss uniform?
So this is Loane here just coming around now. So she's given up a little bit of time, which she'll want to make sure she doesn't get any further backwards out of the swim.
But she will be working hard on the bike as well. We've also got in the mix Georgie Grobler from South Africa. She's one of the faster runners on the circuit, isn't she?
Yeah, so Georgie will probably trying to make some time on the bike and the run as well.
And she had a 2nd place in, was it in Scano recently?
It's a tough race out in Scano. So it's
Well, ahead of the race, Alizée Paties said, I have a working bike and hopefully a working body after last weekend. I can't wait to fight for another World Cup win. So that's for the World Cup and for the short track. So, will her slightly fresher body put her into a stronger position against Solenne? Well, our world champion had not the best of starts to the season, but has since really come together with the double last weekend in Prachatice.
So Solenne had done some training at altitude and got some more training in on the hills. She says where she lives it's fairly flat, so she doesn't get the opportunity to train on the hills so much, which is quite an important part of being able to come to these races where they're very hilly, there's lots of elevation, and actually do quite well.
I don't think Emma's got the lead that she had in Prachatice last weekend. She's not created that distance.
No, there's definitely some clear water between her and the rest of the girls, but whether that's enough to maintain a lead out of transition onto the bike, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, when they come out of the water, there's a run of about 50 metres to transition. And then as soon as they leave transition, they've got to climb over one of the many man-made challenges, which is a fairly tough one to get up. So I wonder if they'll be having their shoes on before. We saw in Prachatice, a lot of them had their shoes on. They put the shoes on,
Yeah.
and then were able to click straight onto the pedals.
I think a lot of them will be going for putting the shoes on in transition for a speedy exit onto the bike.
Alizée in 4th place there. So we have 2 orange caps there.
Yes, I think we're going to see a really good battle between Solenne and Alizée out onto the bike today.
I think that's Solenne. It is in 3rd place, isn't it? 2nd or 3rd place? 3rd
Yeah,
place.
so Solenne in 3rd place.
With Alizée in 4th. Wonderfully clear water. This is an old industrial site which has been allowed to be created into a recreational area, and the city of Zittau has done a wonderful job. This is full each weekend and most of the days in the summer. So Emma Ducreux, France, confident in the water once again.
So it's a bigger lead than it looked like in the water there, actually, that she's managed to bring out on the other girls.
Solenne, Alizée locked onto each other. Now tomorrow,
they're not going to want to give up any time in this run into transition either. It's,
or lose any time fumbling with equipment.
Yeah.
As you can see, the men have already racked the bikes on the left because they'll be setting off at 16:45. So you're right, the shoes are going to go on. Bit of a struggle there, losing some of the advantage.
Yeah, so Solenne and Alizée here into transition. They're going to have a really fast transition, popping the shoes on. I don't think it'll be long before we see them make their way to the front of the race here.
No. As you can see, onto the bike, but then only a matter of a few metres before they have to climb. Marta Menditto there. Now, she can expect to edge forwards through the group, and that was Georgie Grobler from South Africa.
Yeah, so Marta had a great race in Czech Republic at the short track last weekend with a 3rd position finish, so I think we can expect to see her make her way up through the field as well.
And she didn't race here last year. She now this is the big climb, and this is a great focus at the start of the race. And yes, you can see struggling right at the top there, but Solenne attacking on that hill.
Yeah, it's a really tough climb, that, and the rain has just started to come down as well.
But the rain shouldn't make an awful lot of difference out there. You said it's very dry in the woods?
Yeah, it's a little bit cooler conditions for the athletes to be racing in today.
Marta Menditto now.
So really pushing up that climb. Karina Wasler coming through as well.
And Georgie Grobler behind her. Karina Wasler there from Austria. She's been racing now for over a couple of decades. So consistently in the top part of the race.
And she won the Australian national title again this year for, I think it was the 15th year in a row.
Oh, she's quite a legend.
Athlete.
Yes, the rain is sweeping through. Now, this section of the steps, not quite as dramatic as the steps in Namur, but still quite disruptive. And now it's a right turn for the athletes as they disappear off into the woods.
Yeah, so we've got Alizée and Solenne both moved up to the front of the race now, so I think we're going to see a really good battle between those two athletes. Neither's going to want to give any time up to the other.
No, because although this is the short track and it's today, we have the long race tomorrow, there are still points and prize money available to the athletes. 20 points maximum, and we've got $5,000 to be split between the male and the female athletes.
But the athletes are still racers. They're here and they want to win. They're not going to be giving anything up to anyone. So you see a short section through the woods here. We don't have loads of cameras in the trees, but very shortly we're going to see them come out of the woods and then take on some of these features, some of the jumps, making their way down to the berm and around. So Luan coming through now, Luan and Marta.
They had a real battle last weekend in Prakatica, didn't they?
Yes, Luan had a good race in Prakatica last weekend, finishing 2nd position in the short track. So that's 4th and 5th position now, I think, for Luan and Marta.
Marta was saying that this course hasn't quite got the hills, and she prefers the hills, the challenges. So we can see her taking full advantage of the flatter sections. But do you think that's going to put her at a disadvantage compared to some of the more powerful athletes?
I mean, Marta's still a very good, strong athlete. She might prefer the hills, but I think she'll still go well on this course.
Well, Emma's still out in front, but how much of a lead has she got now? She's not in front.
No, Alizée and Solenne are out in front.
Oh, and that's Bonnie van Wilgenburg from Great Britain. She's skidded off on that first turn.
Yeah, so it's both Solenne and Alizée are out in front. We're going to see them shortly coming down this this technical section. And then they'll come out of the trees.
Alizée
Yep.
into the lead.
Yeah, so Solenne's
Solenne.
right behind her.
So that lead has grown to 15, 20. Well, that's incredible. 20 seconds or so already.
Yeah.
And that's in the first lap. In the first half of the first lap.
Yeah, so they've got 4 laps today. It's a short lap. So we'll see them all come around fairly quickly into transition. They've got a short climb and a little bit of technical section through the trees here. So big group of ladies now, all making their way through.
Now, the rain is really coming down, as you can see that. This descent here, the wooden sections, it's rough wood, so hopefully there's going to be some grip. But this is going to be challenging with the rain coming down.
Yeah, so there's some chicken wire on this berm here, so there'll still be some grip even with the rain.
Okay.
They're really pushing the pace at the front of this race. They'll want to put lots of time into Luan as well, so Luan will be chasing them, come onto the run.
She's quite a threat out on the run. But on that downhill section before they get here, there's some berms on the grass. I think they'd have to be a little bit more cautious as they go negotiate those, because there's no chicken wire on them.
No, there's quite a big jump as well leading into those berms. There's an A line, there's a B line, so athletes can choose which one they want to take. But we can see how tough this climb is now. So really, really powerful athletes. Still, it looks tough.
But hitting that 4 times, and then again tomorrow you've got the big one. So Beatriz Ferreira from Portugal there. That's a good position from her.
Yeah, so 6th position there for Beatrice. So she was listed in our favourites for today because she had such a great result out in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, one of the youngsters in the race, but with lots of promise. So Emma Ducreux, our early race leader, still in a good position.
So she's still out in 3rd place. So we're just seeing Solenne here now making her way along the top of that ridge.
And she'll be coming across very soon to the steps.
So there's been a change in position at the front now. Solenne's decided that she doesn't want to sit back behind Alizée. She's going to take this on, move to the front of the race.
Again, you have 2 French athletes. We've got 6 French women racing in this short track. 6. And that shows you just how far behind Beatriz Ferreira is. She's now just entering that section, which is relatively flat, to bring her to those steps and the descent.
Yeah, so she's maybe sort of 20, 25 seconds behind at this point now. Then Emma Ducreux just making her way along the top there. So these are our leaders just gone through now, Solenne and Alizée.
So we'll take a time check from there. It was 13:05 as it went in. Very challenging conditions, not only for the athletes, but also for the TV team out there.
So the trails were incredibly dry and dusty before they started racing today. It'll be interesting to see if they change at all. So they won't be on the bike for too long, but it might be enough time for some of the rocks and the roots out there to get a little bit greasy.
Oh, Kerry-Ann Upham not having a good one there going up the hill. Getting the wrong gear at the bottom perhaps.
Yeah, so it's a really tough climb now. You have got to be in the right gear and really be confident of powering your way up. So this is, Marta is caught up to Emma, so this would be 3rd, 4th and 5th position. So Luan there as well. Interesting to see Marta sort of taking the lead ahead of Luan as well.
Yes. So
A change of position again for Alizée and Solenne, so these two are really toing and throwing at the front of this race.
Okay, this is on the bike. In your experience, which of the 2 is more likely to have the final pace on the run?
I think it's going to be a really close race with Alizée and Solenne, both out there. It's really tough to
more so than last
call
week.
On that. Yes.
And the left there, in the green uniform, that's Georgie Grobler. Oh, some good images there from.
Yeah, so Alizée really fast, really smooth down through this descent. And Solenne very close behind.
And that's Carina Vasler. So
Marta just trying to make that pass around Emma.
Well, the freedom, the space she has to go through is as wide as her handlebars, and she saw that gap and she went for it.
Yes, it's tough to overtake on this single track courses. So if there is a gap open up, you've got to really go for it.
And that's more so because of the terrain is rock rather than the softer stuff we had in Prachatica last week.
Yes, there's a few little rocks, but it's mostly twisty. It's quite awkward, some of these wood sections through the trees here. Yeah, so you really wanted to try and maintain your speed as much as possible through these twisty sections in the woods, not sort of using any effort or energy that you don't need.
Alizée Paties onto the Holzbrücke.
So it looks like she's got a little bit of a gap over Solenne here.
She's created quite a distance there. We've had a couple of punctures. We had one smashed wheel as the athletes were testing their bikes on the course in the days leading up to the race. But fortunately, there's a wonderful selection of bike shops in town that were able to look after them.
Yeah, so the rain's really starting to come down quite hard now. So Alizée pulled out quite a good, decent gap over Solenne now.
Oh, she has, hasn't she? For the race tomorrow, we've got something like 1,200 participants, including all the kids' races. And that starts at 11:30 tomorrow?
Yeah, so 11:30 start for the main race tomorrow for the elite athletes.
So after this race, it's going to be a question of recovery, rest, and then get ready for the big one tomorrow.
It is, yes.
My goodness. It's getting quite gusty out there at the moment.
Yeah, so Marta here has really sort of put some power down and moved up into third position. So Luan's not been able to go with Marta here.
But Luan, her pace on the run is going to be something that Marta is very much aware of. And they are really looking at the points now, aren't they?
Yeah, so there's 20 points available today for the
Yeah,
win.
you were explaining that with regard to the positions here, you need to be first, second or third, really. You need those top positions to get the best position at the end of the season for the World Cup rankings.
So that's Solenne just making her way down the steps.
So beginning to get a bit of a slip on the wheels there as well. But
Yeah,
Maria
so-
Kajega, she's doing well.
So I imagine this slope might start to get a little bit greasy.
Where's it?
These athletes will be running, I guess, like a summer tyre. So they
Yeah.
won't have loads of grip because we're expecting sort of very dry conditions here.
So I think that was Maria Döring from Germany. Just a wee bit behind.
Yeah, so this course is only going to get more and more challenging as the rain keeps coming down. It'll probably stay fairly dry in the woods. There's quite a decent amount of tree cover. But out in the open, out on the grass, out on some of these man-made features, it might start to get a little bit slippy.
That's Solenne there. She's got some work to do. So this descent here, this is where we had the first fall.
Yeah, so Marta's having a really good race today. It'll be interesting to see if she can make her way up to Solenne.
Luan is losing distance behind both Emma and Marta.
Yeah, so obviously the athletes have got another long race again tomorrow. So I wonder if once they've sort of slipped down to that 5th, 6th position, if they might decide, actually, you know what, I want to save my legs a little bit for tomorrow.
Indeed, yeah. So Solenne still about 5-10 seconds behind.
So we're just seeing some time splits here at the end of the second lap of the bike.
Oh, that's not nice out there at all, is it?
So we can see from the commentary tent here, all the spectators sort of huddled under a tent, all wanting to still watch all the action, but not out in the rain.
But they've chosen a good place to be because they're right close to where those man-made features have been created.
Yes, that gap looks about maybe sort of 10 seconds between Alizée and Solenne here. So Marta really pushing the pace on this bike. She's wanting to make her way up to the front of this race.
Now, if you can hear banging in the background, it's because we're trying to anchor everything down. The wind is becoming quite aggressive and things are moving around the venue. It's a very complicated section, that, in the woods, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a twisty section, so you just want to try and conserve some of your energy a little bit, and not to waste time sort of putting the brakes on and then having to use your leg power to get back up to speed again.
Now, when you think the athletes are performing at this level today, having raced 2 brutal events in Prachatice only last Saturday and Sunday, and then it's a 4-hour drive from there to here, and then the heat, we've had extreme heat here, and they're forecasting upwards of 30 degrees tomorrow.
But yeah, we're seeing something very different today, and actually some quite challenging conditions to race in.
Yes. Now this is the section where we saw Kerry-Ann Upham from Great Britain just losing, getting the wrong gear at the bottom. We saw tyres slipping.
Yeah, so this is starting to get a little bit slippy now. You can see Alizée just wanting to move across a bit onto the greener section of the grass, so where there's a little bit more grip than where we're starting to see the mud sort of being exposed. But that's about sort of a 10-second gap now from Alizée. So Solenne won't want to give up any more time now on this bike course. She'll just want to hold that gap.
There is a chance of gaining some time in transition. They're in the same sort of position in transition, but if there's a slight mistake, we saw, for example, last week, Arthur Serrières struggling to get his shoe in, losing seconds, valuable seconds, and he was the first to admit that was probably what lost him the positions he wanted.
And so it's such a short race today, so we're probably looking about 35, 36 minutes total race time. So that transition is really important.
Well, last year the fastest run was Loan du Voisin in 9:55.
Yeah, so they're on to the last lap of the bike now. And they'll probably be glad to put the bikes into transition, put on their running shoes. So it's tough racing the bike out there in these rainy conditions.
But this is still a very solid race from Maria Cajero there from Spain. But way out in front at the moment. Alizée Paties is looking very, very strong. I wonder if her prediction is going to come true. Coming to the race slightly fresher than the others.
Yeah, and Solenne would be able to see Alizée on this part of the course as they make this switch back, so she'll know exactly what the gap is. But also now the course is getting a little bit slippy, the athletes aren't going to want to take any risks.
Certainly not ahead of the race tomorrow.
So Marta Menditto, 3rd position.
12 seconds off.
Yes, I think Marta might be a little bit further than 12 seconds back.
Yes,
I think
it was
the 12
Solenne.
seconds might be Solenne to Alizée.
Yep. So very shortly, Alizée Paties will be emerging from the woods to start that descent.
Yeah,
So
Solenne's very close behind.
That's not 12 seconds, is it? That's a lot shorter.
I think we'll probably see Marta coming around this in a second.
Now that heavy rain cloud is now slightly moving away. We've got brighter skies coming.
So this is the last section through the trees for Alizée before she makes her way down and around into transition.
It is a very challenging bike course.
Yes, this is quite a technical little section here. They need to maintain the speed up this little steep climb.
Is that Solenne?
Yeah.
So it looks like Marta has overtaken Solenne. Or I think I might have just glanced away. But
No, so Marta's still in 3rd position here.
okay. The rain is just easing off now. So going out onto the run, the athletes, as they checked in, as they went into transition and set the bikes up, they had their shoes for extreme heat, dry conditions.
I think they're going to have wet, soggy shoes now.
Well, yes, but would you make a different choice of shoes given the slippery nature? of the course?
No, I think they decide beforehand what shoes they were going to have, and they'll just have a lightweight trail shoe that they'll use for any condition, really.
So Alizée and Solenne both loosening the shoes off.
Yeah, so Alizée into transition.
So this is the moment where they don't want to make any mistakes. So Solenne, the length of the transition, that's about 50 metres down.
So Alizée hasn't actually won a short track event this year, so she'll be wanting to add that to her results.
Oh, Solenne has been so consistently good, hasn't she? That initial start of the season, it didn't go very well for her.
So they've got 2 laps on this run course. It's 1.3 kilometres. They're taking on a very similar loop to what they did on the bike. So 2.6 kilometres in total.
And now we see them crossing the road through the expo area and that hill. And she's powering away up there.
Yeah, making it look easy. So Marta maybe a minute or so back in 3rd position, but still a really good race for Marta.
So the same sort of distance, about 50 metres. And that very deceptive running style that Solenne has.
Yeah, so Marta making way into transition now. This is 3rd position, and it's just saw Loan in the background there as well, so she's not far behind.
Well, that's going to be the lure. So Marta will be the person that Loan focuses on.
Yeah, Loan will be wanting to move her way up the positions once she's out onto the run course. So Loan's finished 2nd place in Germany last year.
Mm-hmm. And she was 2nd place in the Czech Republic. So
yeah, so we know Loan's a very quick runner, so we expect her to be making her way forwards on this final part of the race.
And again, it's very disruptive to the legs. You've got you're running on cinder, you're running on the steps, you're going through the woods, you're going up the grass.
There's nowhere to find a rhythm at all on this course.
And Marta making that look easy as well. A brief respite as she goes downhill.
So even though it's a relatively flat course compared to Czech, it's still really going to make your legs work. These athletes will still be feeling their legs. So Solenne just making her way into transition there.
So Loan is quite some distance now. I don't think this is something she can make up over 2.6 kilometres. She's quite a way down from Marta.
No, and actually that gap to Marta was a lot bigger than what it looked like.
So perhaps there was a struggle in transition. And she will have seen just how far ahead. There's a line of sight from where Loan went up.
Yes, they've got this section on the course that's just like a big ridge along the top of almost like a mound, where there's quite a long sight line, so the athletes will be able to see where everybody is.
And then they disappear into the woods, and it's just twists, turns, and it's impossible to see. Well, it's impossible to see how far ahead they are until you actually go past them.
Yeah.
So there you go, full distance winner.
Yeah, so the athletes will be able to see on certain sections of the course who's in front of them, who's behind them, what that time gap is, and probably now, bearing in mind that they've got that race tomorrow, they'll make a decision if they're going to chase or actually if they're going to just ease off a little bit and hold that position.
And their coaches will be telling them what to do as well, because they're obviously conscious of the race that's tomorrow, which is the full distance race, and it's pretty much all uphill until you turn around and come back.
Yes. Yeah, it's a tough course that these athletes have got to take on tomorrow. It's a 37-kilometre bike course with a really big climb in it. So we're just getting some time splits now. So Alizée Paties is out ahead. Solenne Billouin 10 seconds or so behind. And then back into 3rd place, we're looking at sort of a minute or so gap.
These are greater distances, I think, than we saw in Prakatitsa. This is quite a substantial lead that's been created by the two French athletes.
Yes, I think our 1st and 2nd positions now have been decided between Solenne and Alizée. So it'll be, where are these going to come? First or 2nd, we'll have to wait and see. But then 3rd position backwards, we're looking at Marta, maybe Loan.
Good support there for Karina Vasler from Austria.
So the sun's starting to come out again, but these athletes still looking a little bit wet on.
But also to the spectators, they're still out here in their hundreds.
Yeah, really tough climb this. So Marta still looks like she's pushing. She'll probably be thinking, oh, I'll see if I can catch Solenne and Alizée.
She missed this race last year because of the she crashed out in Prachatica, and she was unable to start here, which must have been tremendously disappointing for her. But here she is, the first time she's racing the course, and she's in a wonderful position.
Yeah, she'll know Loan will be behind her and she'll be chasing. So she's not going to want to give up that third place position.
No, certainly not. But she doesn't look panicked. Loan looks focused.
She looks calm. She knows what she's got to do. So fourth position for Loan at the moment. We're just seeing Karina Vasler making her way down the steps. So I'll have one more lap to go on the run for these athletes, just coming down the steps now.
And when they come out of the forest, then it's pretty much a straight line down to the through those man-made obstacles, and then down towards the finish. So Maria Döring, that's a good performance from her, as she was coming into the position with position 18, and she's from the local club as well.
So we're just seeing that it was still only a 10-second gap between Alizée and Solenne.
I think it was good they managed to do the interview with Alizée before the race, because if her prediction is right, and that was Anna Wehr from Germany, from Poland in fact, from the Tomica coaching team.
She recently won the Polish National Championships.
Oh. The sun coming out now, it must be, it's very, very humid, of course. But that lead is pretty much the same. There doesn't appear to be a great change.
No, so just a 10-second gap between these two leaders.
It was a very interesting earlier section in the bike with that change of lead between the two. And she's beginning to lap some of the slower athletes. Wow.
Yeah, so really, really fast running from Alizée today. Yeah.
So edging ahead there of Anna Wehr.
Yeah, so Alizée will be shortly making her way down through this field, down through where the man-made obstacles are. And that will be her race.
She'll take the win, yes. I think we were all a bit concerned when we saw the crash last week. It happened just in front of us, and there was a lot of panic because of the incident, the impact, and she'd also damaged her knee. And then when we heard that her handlebars had snapped on the short track, all sorts of worried thoughts went through my mind. But she came here, she looked confident, her knee had healed beautifully. There was the faintest mark. She must have a very strong constitution. And she was confident in her interviews.
They're just checking behind her shoulder there. She knows that Solenne is just there. There's only that 10-second gap.
And just edging ahead there, French teammate Marine Echevin. But I commented last time that Solenne has a very easy running style. It doesn't look as if she's going fast at all, but the way she eats up the kilometres, it's a very deceptive style indeed. Whereas Loan, you've got the very high tempo, very easy position.
So this is Alizée about to make her way down through that field. She'll know Solenne's close behind her, but I think she probably know that she can relax a little bit now. She's got that win, I think.
She's got 15 seconds at least.
Yeah, so she's put a little bit more time into Solenne here.
Yeah. Now, how is Beatriz Ferreira from Portugal doing? She's just ahead of Helena
Kraskova
from the Czech Republic. 5 times winner of the race in the Czech Republic. Early leader, Emma Ducreux there.
And another French athlete, Solenne making her way through there as well. But I think we'll be seeing Alizée cross that finish line very shortly.
Oh, we can hear Chun, our race commentator, getting really excited. So he's obviously spotted her in the distance. As we see, yep, there she is.
So that'll be Alizée winning today's short track event.
That's going to push her points up quite nicely, isn't it? A well-deserved victory there for Alizée Paties. Oh, she's happy, isn't she? Now that is a good win.
A great result for Alizée after last weekend's disappointment from the short track.
But quite some distance she's put into Solenne Billouin.
Yeah, she's just pulled that gap out a little bit more on the run. Solenne would have known that there's no one else behind her, and if she wasn't going to catch, she's just going to back off a little bit and save her legs for tomorrow.
Save the energy, yes.
But no, another great race from Solenne, 2nd position.
So take the time chip off, and as soon as they can, I'm sure these athletes are going to want to get away to relax. Or are they going to hang around for the men?
I think we'll see Marta Menditto coming into the finish line very shortly. She was only a minute so behind.
Well, hopefully we're going to get some interviews with the athletes. We can just see Doug Hall down there at the finish, the manager for Europe, Middle East and Africa for XTERRA. So taking on some well-needed fluids after that. It's still very hot out there. So where is Marta Menditto?
Yeah, so a really fast race from both Alizée and Solenne. They're a long way ahead of the other girls.
This is an interesting result. They are so far ahead now. So that's Anna Maria Dietzer. But
Here
Marta
she is.
Menditto.
So another great race for Marta. 3rd position, she'll be pleased with that.
Again, it's these consistent, good performances near the top. We know from Jens Emil in the men's race that his position, he's never won a short track, but he's consistently been very high in the results, which has put him into the lead overall.
And it's still all to play for those World Cup points.
Yes, it's the focus is on Molveno, but Luan du Vezin from Switzerland making her way to the finish line now. Interesting that she's had much more time to focus on her training. Now she's finished her studies and she can devote full-time. Focus is there.
So 4th position for Luan today, and it's so great that we've got so many ladies that are capable of taking the win. It makes all the racing really exciting. You can never predict who's going to win the race.
But look at this, consistent performances for so long now. Elena Erbanova just slightly ahead of the youngster Beatriz Ferreira from Portugal.
But that's been a really strong bike and run from Helena there.
It has.
So
taken it from
all the
her
way
swim.
up into 5th position.
And is that Ségolène? No, it's Ségolène Le Baron just finishing there.
So 7th position for Ségolène.
Yes. So that was Maria Döring, just slightly ahead. Okay, we're going to go down now to the finish. That's Emma Ducreux, our swim leader, just crossing the line. But we're now able to go down to the finish area and hear from some of the athletes. Over to you, Doug.
Okay, congratulations, Solenne. It looked like some epic conditions out there, and it looks like you've hit the deck.
Yeah, I mean the weather condition changed during the race, and it was very challenging because it started being very slippery. But I had fun. I mean, I like when we have this kind of condition.
Yeah, and we saw the lead change quite a few
yeah.
times on the bike because it's obviously it's exciting racing out there.
Yeah,
But
I tried to make my move, and then I crashed in the rock garden, I tried to stay in the race anyway, and I think I had I was second for 8 seconds, and I think I almost kept this distance the whole race. But it was just tough. It was hard. It's a third race in 8 days, so the body starts to feel it.
Yeah, well, I hope you're all fit and ready for tomorrow, and best of luck.
Yeah. What did you say?
Best of luck for tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
So yes, a lot of racing in a very short period of time. We've got one more race before Molveno, and that's Beaver Creek. Have you been to Beaver Creek at all?
I haven't, no.
There's no short track there, though, is there?
No.
The last short track will be in Molveno. We've got something very special for everybody once we get to Molveno. Georgie Grobler, good run there. Body von Wilgenburg, our early faller. Okay, I think we're going to go back to Doug, who's got Marta Menditto available. Over to you, Doug.
Okay, Marta, that looked like so much fun out there. I know you said last week you really liked the swim and the wet, so you made it rain today.
Yeah, it was nice today with the rain. At the end on the run, it was really slippery. Maybe it was better to put in the transition area trail shoes, but yeah. It started to rain just before the start, and I had a really bad swim today because I just jumped in the water, and I have all the water in my goggles, and I was like, oh no, I have the lenses in my eyes. I said, okay, I have to put out the water or the race will be a mess. So yeah, the swim was not really good today, but the rest of the race, yes, I'm really happy.
And how did you manage that change in conditions? Because obviously the bike and the trainers are set up for dry conditions. Is it a case of just relying on your mountain bike skills?
Yeah, it was different on the second loop on the bike. It was really slippery, and on the rocks also in the garden it was difficult, and you had to manage it, I think. And maybe I think it's for that they take a bit time on Loan, because I think she did something wrong in the technical part, I think. So I think it's in the technical that I did the race today, and maybe for the wet condition also.
Amazing, congratulations and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Interesting to see just how much the conditions have changed. And no doubt the elite men will be chatting to them. And do you think there'll be any last minute changes of shoes?
They're not able to change it at this stage, unfortunately. They've already set up that transition before the women started, and they won't be allowed back in there to make any adjustments.
It just goes to show how incredibly skilled these athletes are to be able to cope with such changing conditions. I think it was Doug who mentioned that XTERRA racing is like making 1,000 decisions a second when you're full anaerobic. Going to go down now to the finish because we have Alizée Paties. Over to you, Doug.
Yeah.
Well, over to you, Doug. We're all ready.
Congratulations, Alizée. A fantastic win here at XTERRA Germany short track. It's another World Cup win for you, but I feel like it was a little bit different today.
Yeah, I was very happy because the last week it was not my day. I broke my handlebar, so I just wanted to take my revenge here, and I love the course, so I'm very happy.
And the heavens absolutely opened. You know, I've not seen a race like that in an XTERRA race for a long time, but you seem to just deal with it so well.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. We had a great battle with Solenne, even if she crashed a bit on the bike. It was very special today with the rain, but yeah, I'm just happy, and I will take some recovery for tomorrow.
And I think everybody wants to know, how do you ride that fast in the wet?
How fast of what?
How do you ride that well on the slippy in the wet with the rain?
Actually, in my mind, I say during the second lap, oh my God, it's very slippery, because on the rocks, my rear wheel was always like that, very slippery. So I say that I don't know if it's the same with the other girls, but I will try to do something good. And yeah, I love when it's like that, slippery. You have to manage your bike, and yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so it looked like a masterclass. And then just finally, last question, if you could answer in French, that'd be great. Just talk us through your day today and how happy it is to win another XTERRA World Cup.
Je suis vraiment contente parce que oui, c'est vrai que j'ai fait 2 fois 2 au short track et je voulais vraiment une victoire pour finir sur une bonne note, parce qu'après il en restera plus qu'un Molveno, et ouais, je suis vraiment contente de gagner ici parce que c'est vraiment une super course, un super parcours, et avec des gens qui sont toujours au top pour nous soutenir, donc merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to hear that from Alizée, who said that she's rather happy that she's finishing on a high note. She loves the course here, and this is a very positive thing for her just ahead of Molveno. And great support from everybody as well, she said.
Yeah, so she won it last year in 2022, and she's back again. She's won it again for 2023.
Yeah, she did, and she won it on the bike last year as well. So this is obviously where she has the power.
Yep.
So 12 seconds. But look, at that is quite a lead the two French athletes have established there.
It is.
Be interesting to see how this affects the overall rankings. But of course, the bigger change to the rankings will take place tomorrow. So Beatrice Ferreira dropping down from 5th last week to 6th, but an incredible performance there from Elena Krarskova-Erbanova from the Czech Republic. So the excitement of the women's race. And what's next?
So next up we'll have the men's elite race.
Oh, yes.
So the podium presentations for the elite ladies. First place Alizée, second place Solenne.
Here we
third
go.
place Marta. That's quite a lot for all in one go.
It's a fluid replacement.
There we go.
And it doesn't hurt the eyes as much as champagne does, apparently. Very good for the hair. So we're talking about the big race tomorrow. You've been out on the course here. I've heard that it's a very tough ride up to the top.
It is a very tough ride to the top. There's not many athletes that will actually be able to ride the whole climb without having to get off and push at some point.
It's that difficult?
It's very technical, very steep.
So is that something that's like almost a challenge for someone? Can you do it? Is that part of the attraction?
Oh,
for
it can be done.
So this is...
Yeah, our updated rankings.
That's
so
quick.
Alizée still sitting at the top, Billouin second position, Solenne in third, Marta Menditto in fourth, Sandra in fifth position. So there's not been much change at the top of that leaderboard for now.
No, but the battle for the third place is going to be very, very intense between them. So that's going to be quite a fight over the next 2 races. And of course the big point collection at Molveno. So we're going to see some highlights very shortly. That is the view now. The rain has dropped away. We've got sunshine. We've got blue bits in the sky. So it's all changed for the men's race. But the ground, the surface, is going to be quite challenging for them, isn't it?
Yeah, the surface will still be fairly slippy for the men's race. It's not sunny enough now to dry it out in the next half an hour or so. So the men are still going to see some challenging conditions out on the course.
Well, we've got a full lineup for you for the men, but we'll go into a bit more detail about that once we've seen the highlights for the race we've just seen.
yeah, the short track Germany is really great. I love it because it's a fast short track. The bike is flat and the run too. And yeah, I like it. Oh, I think I put all I have during the full distance, and for the party, we will see. It's not my first objective.
For me, it's always like a coming home. Since I started Race Zittau in 2015, I got contact with the organizer, Heike, and Benno as well. And I'm always feeling like I'm coming home, doing some sport, hanging out together, and then everybody is focusing, all the volunteers, but there's a lot of athletes as well. They're waiting for the party at the Saturday evening, and you can see all the athletes, all the pros. They're enjoying the party and drinking beer as well, and celebrating as that much, because after Zittau it's a little bit, there's a block end, and then just focusing 5 weeks later on the World Championships. So I think that's really something special, and everybody knows that, and yeah, waiting for it all of the year.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the XTERRA 2022 World Championship. Are you ready?
Johanna has not lost. Thank you very much. Mahalo, grazie, and everything.
I'm going all in, put it all on the line, cause I know that I'ma win. I'm going all in, put it all on the line, cause I know that I'ma win. Feel like I can never lose, put it all on the line. Every day we gotta choose how we wanna make this time. Yeah, they know I gotta feel it, and only give me to want it. Nobody can stop me when I put my mind to it, manifest and I own it. a winner till the day I die. I'm a winner till the day I die. I'm a winner till the day I die.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to Zittau and welcome to the elite men's XTERRA short track. My name is Paul Groves, joined by Nicole Walters, who knows all about racing at the highest level. Nicole?
Thanks for the introduction, Paul. Yep, really great to be here in Zittau. Looking forward to this men's race. We should have another exciting race, similar to what we saw with the women's.
Yeah, that was an exciting result there with that very powerful performance of the two French athletes at the front. We've got 6 men from France racing in the elite category. That's going to be quite a challenge as well. Unfortunately, we've got one Frenchman who's not going to be able to be here. Unfortunately, Arthur Serrières had a bad crash in Prachatice and has a broken collarbone. So, we've got, wearing number 1, Jens Emil. Number 2?
So Arthur Serrières, number 3, Felix Frisier, Ruben Zaffer, his World Cup ranking of number 4, and Michele Bonacina, World Cup ranking number 6. So these are our favourites for today's race. So Jens Emil up there in the number 1 spot. He's not won one yet, so maybe we'll see that from him today.
Or we might. Going to hear from some of the athletes now. So over to them.
Pain is all I can describe short track as. I've spent the last 5-6 years transitioning away from Olympic distance racing and into 70.3 half Ironman distance racing, and coming down and doing a 20-minute long event is just so painful, but it's really cool. Yeah, I wish the swim had more of an impact. Actually, it's pretty challenging because everybody can go hard for 50 meters to get to the first buoy, and I tend to get a little bit caught in traffic with that. It's like if you combined, I don't know, like North Shore style features with cyclocross is what it looks like. I think it would be awesome. I've just seen the structures set up. I don't know exactly how the track goes, but it'll be really fun, and I think that's a great thing for the sport because it's so spectator friendly and TV friendly.
Yeah, the short track it's a really good format, and it's really awesome that it is live streamed. Personally, I enjoy the short track more than the main races, which is probably not what a lot of athletes say, but also just having a live stream that you can send to friends and family and make the sport more visible. Yeah, so the World Cup and the scoring system, also the short track racing has really advanced the sport. It's given a lot higher level of racing to these specific World Cup races, and it's increased the level of performance massively.
Good to hear there from Eric Lagerstrom from the States, and also from Scott Anderson, who, as you can hear, speaks extremely good English and extremely good German. But Eric Lagerstrom, he said short track is pain. Is that
So he's someone used to racing the longer distances on the road. It's a very different style of racing that he's having to take on today.
Yeah, he's dropping down from a very successful career racing the middle distances. And I think when we spoke to him yesterday, he was saying what he likes about the European construction of these races, the XTERRA type races, is the climbs and the descents. He said that's something that is European and very much different to what he's used to. He raced against Arthur Serrières in Oak Mountain. That was the second one of the World Cup sequences or series. And he was a bit of a surprise. It made Arthur work really hard all the way to the end, didn't it?
Yeah, and Arthur will always be trying to push the pace as well and wanting to be at the front, so it's good for him to be having those battles out there on the race course.
It's going to make the swim quite interesting as well. We have in the swim Jens Roth, very popular here, But Michele Bonacina, who beat him out the water last year, and of course Eric Lagerstrom, who swam alongside Michele Bonacina in Ibiza at the Worlds. So that's going to be the front end, we think, in the water.
So we saw Jens have quite a substantial lead out of the water in last weekend's race. So I think he'll probably be aiming for the same again today. So athletes starting to make their way onto the start line. They'll be called up one at a time.
Yeah, we got Jens Emil Sloth-Nielsen wearing the gold cap. He's out there already. Arthur Serrières from France. Félix Forissier from France. Ruben Ruzafa. He's wearing what we expected and a different number. So if you see number 24, I think it was, then that will be his hat. Yeah, he's wearing 24 because he went and put number 4 on and it fell apart in his hands. We've seen the swim course. Nicole, tell us about the bike course.
So the bike course, we've got 4 laps, 1.5 kilometres to each lap. Nice technical lap, and we've seen the conditions change in the last hour. So actually there's some sections on course that are quite slippy and sliding. They've also got some man-made features to contend with as well. So overall a really exciting bike course that we'll see some close racing amongst these guys. Out onto the run, it's going to follow a similar lap to what the run course did. It's a little bit shorter. So it's 2 laps of 1.3 kilometres, making up 2.6 in total. So wooded sections again, a little bit slippy underfoot, and we should see some close racing.
Yes, and we heard from the women that there were some falls and crashes out in the rock garden, or the technical section in the woods. So that's your
World Cup rankings.
And
so we've got Jens sitting atop of this leaderboard. Need to win a race though. By the time we get to Malvino, only 5 of these races are going to count. So actually if he doesn't have the points from a winning race, we might see him drop down the leaderboard a little bit.
So it's quite critical for him to perform well this weekend. He did actually say, it's about time I won one of these.
He did after last week's race.
But we heard in the build-up to the presentation of the athletes that he overtook 18 people when he raced here last year. Well, he overtook 16 last week in Prachatica. So he's the first to admit that he's not the strongest in the water, but his biking is just phenomenal. More outstanding was Ruben last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, phenomenal bike ride from Ruben last week. He really put the power down on that course, made his way to the front, put in a substantial gap to the other athletes, and then actually did quite a good job of maintaining that lead on the run. We saw him drop back down into sort of 4th position, but he was still really far towards that front of that race.
The wild cards are being given out to get some of the athletes into the lower numbers, and at the bottom there, Sebastian Neff. He's going to be potentially a big threat on the run. If he can get a good swim and a bike, then he runs as fast as Pesavento from Italy, who is normally the one to really push Arthur Serrières. But he will be taking a less favourable position on the start line because of his start number. Water temperature still 24, drier. We can see the clouds in the distance. We're crossing our fingers we don't get a torrential downpour. We didn't get the images we wanted because it was so incredibly wet. The rain was lashing down and we couldn't take the drones out and get them in the air. So fingers crossed it might be better.
Yes, hopefully we'll get some drone shots of the men riding some of these man-made features on the course.
Yeah. So we got a huge lineup there,
25 athletes.
Yes, look at that.
So it's going to be a really fast start. They're not going to give away any meters in this first starting section before they enter the water. So we're going to see them really sprinting towards the water.
Yeah. Lucas Kocher there wearing number 6. I don't expect him to hold back in the swim. And there, 5th from the right is Ruben Ruzafa. Right next to the gold cap of Jens Emil.
And Maxime Chanet in there as well. He'll be wanting a good race this weekend. He said he didn't
yes.
quite have the race in the short track that he wanted last week. So hopefully if we see him have a good swim today, he'll be out the water a little bit further ahead. And we'll see if he can have a good bike and run.
Now, who won this last year? Let's have a quick look. It was Félix Forissier. Bonacina getting into the water in 2nd place there, but that looked
So some of the athletes choosing to go for that dolphin dive, some of them just getting straight into that swim stroke. And it'll very much depend as to what technique they've practiced as to what they go for today.
But the green cap edging ahead, I think that's Michele Bonacina.
Yes, we've got Bonacina in a green cap today, so I expect that'll be him making his way to the front.
Yeah, he's
Jens
wearing
Roth
number
is
5.
in a blue cap, so we're looking out for that blue cap of Jens Roth as well.
Yep, then that's Jens Roth edging over at the moment to try and get into position next to Bonacina. But we're also going to see Erik Lagerstrom wearing a green cap. He's going to be wearing number 10. So I think, yep, that's the number, yeah, the second green cap back. That's Erik Lagerstrom. But Bonacina leading, Jens Roth second place. And
So
Kieran McPherson. Is that Kieran McPherson there?
No, so we're looking for a white cap, number 6. Lucas Kokacha is up there at the front as well.
That's Lucas, yes.
Also seeing the pink cap of Arthur Serrières just over to the right of the screen. So he's having a really good swim at the moment, sitting in that sort of 3rd, 4th position. But already starting to see the athletes spread out in this first section of the swim course. They'll want a little bit of space getting around this boy. So you can lose time if you're in too much of a bunch and you're fighting for position as you go around the boys.
Now, I know Jens Roth will be wanting a bit of revenge here because he's been first out of the water here for so many times. And last year, it was Michele Bonacina who decided, yep, it's time for me to have a go at this. And he was out of the water in a superb time.
And we heard how important this race is for Jens as well. It's his home race, so he's going to want to put his stamp on the race somewhere, and his place to do that is in the swim. So
sure
we might see him make a move on this second lap of the swim course.
And his sponsors would like to see him do that as well.
Yep.
So Bonacina out. The shark. Oh, look at that lead already.
That's quite a sizable gap, given that it's only 2 minutes of racing so far. But Arthur Serrières is out on the swim.
So Lagerstrom in a good position. They're not quite where he would want to be. But we've still got
there as well.
And that's Scott Anderson a little bit further back. I didn't see the green cap there of Francois V, number 15.
And Xavier Daffon there just coming out. Gert Lauriston as well.
Xavier Daffon, he's one of the few athletes who rides all the way up to the top of the course and back without getting off the bike.
Yep.
So Bonacina still leading, Roth on his toes. Arthur Serrières, look at that. And I think that's Spinazzi, the second pink cap, just behind him.
So that's a really good swim from Arthur, coming out in 3rd position. He won't be wasting any time to get out to the front of the race as soon as they're all out on the bike.
Oh, is that Kochar? Kochar is not in a pink cap, is he? No.
That's
Jules Dumas. So that's Jules Dumas, we think, in the
So we can
pink
just
cap
see
there,
Jens
number 12.
here trying to get around the inside of that boy.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good attack.
Yeah. Yes, he's made his move. He's wanting to be out of this swim first.
Can Michele respond to this? And is
so
it
you can see
worth?
him really bringing his legs up to speed now, really putting the power down, really wanting to be in the front, leading into transition. He's even putting a little bit of time into Bonacina here.
Yeah, but Bonacina's in that sweet spot at the minute. He was. He's now drifting away. Oh, it's gone. That broken water is gone.
Jens is really attacking here, but he's just going off to the side a little bit. He's going to need to look up, else he might miss this exit from the swim.
Bonacina's swimming straight, but Jens is just... Has that last minute adjustment gone in? Yeah.
Yeah. So first out of the water, Jens Roth, and he's really kicked here. We can see that time he's put in.
Oh, the albatross arms go out. Bonacina in second. Dumas.
Dumas.
Good. And Lagerstrom, the TTL.
Lucas Kochar, Arthur Serrières, Felix Farizier. So Felix won this race last year. Ruben Ruzafa there as well. Kieran McPherson, Maxime Chanet, Theo Duprat. So all really close, these athletes. So we're going to see a big bunch heading out onto the bike.
But Roth and Bonacina going out together. You see the difference in position with transition. That's made that that change. But Lagerstrom, yep, it's going to hurt.
And there's not much overtaking opportunity on this course either. So it's really important that these guys have a fast transition.
Lagerstrom out in 4th, I think. Now this first climb, how's that going to feel? You've been horizontal in the water and suddenly you're asking to really, really put the power on.
Yeah, I mean, this climb might be a little bit slippy still as well from the rain that we had earlier.
With those two creating quite some distance from over Dumas.
So I think we'll see this group start to close that gap over the first and second laps of the bike. So they've got 4 laps to go. 1.5 kilometres, 6 kilometres in total. Jens Roth already dropped to the back of this group, so he's not had a good transition.
It's that first part of the bike climbing up over the it's like a bridge, a huge bridge they need to negotiate. But Michele Bonacina, off he goes. He led for pretty much half of the bike, didn't he, in Prakatica?
He did, and then we saw that attack from Ruben.
Oh, that was amazing. You can re-watch the races on the XTERRA YouTube page, and the attack from Ruben Ruzafa as he carved his way through the pack in this incredibly technical, narrow section in Prakatica was amazing. So, Lagerstrom.
So he's made his way up through that pack into 2nd position.
He has. Spinazzi, Dumas, Fede Farici, Ruben Ruzafa.
And Maxime Chanet.
Now, I know for Jens Roth, his focus, I think he has to accept it, he hasn't got the biking and the running now, is to keep ahead of Scott Anderson.
Yes.
There's a bit of rivalry going on between the two German athletes.
Yes.
And the crowd's already moving across in front of us to be able to pick out the athletes as they come out of the trees and then down across the man-made berms.
So we can see this section of trail is still a little bit slippy from that rain that we had earlier.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
gone from being so dry and dusty to that little bit of rain. It's just gone really greasy.
McPherson in a good position there. He's not too far off the leaders, and he's got Ruben Ruzafa just in front of him.
So Bonacina's still out ahead of the race. It's that focused look that he has.
He has. We're very fortunate we got Doug Hall with us. Doug, as manager of Europe, Middle East and Africa. Doug,
and with the experience of racing these races.
Just a little bit, yes.
I have done one short track and then quickly retired immediately afterwards. Like Eric Lagerstrom said, this race is just pain. But what a way to showcase our amazing athletes, eh?
Exactly. It's I think it was Scott who said that this is a wonderful opportunity. It's tight, it's exciting, it's really good for the TV. You were out there, you saw more of the women's race than we did because you were out in the rain. What was the atmosphere like there from the spectators?
It's electric. Like I said, the best part about XTERRA is that you're out in nature, you are in the woods, you're having this amazing adventure, but sometimes it's very difficult to bring the people to that environment. So what XTERRA Short Track's been designed to do is to bring XTERRA to the people. So the town of Zittau, they've all come out to watch. Even in that pouring rain, there are people outside watching and cheering for these guys. And it really makes a difference when you're having such a tough race like this, that the whole town comes out to cheer. You can see them there lining these wooden ramps.
So we get to see all these features now.
Now, these are the images we missed earlier because the drones couldn't go up. But Bonacina taking the attack there and launching himself, flying through the air.
So it's a really steep ramp that they've got to get up and over there. So they need to carry their speed to make sure that you don't get stuck on the top.
Yeah. And being able to attack that slightly... Oh, who's that behind him?
So that's Eric Lagerstrom, second position.
Yeah, I mean... sorry, Eric has been seemingly playing down. You know, he's here to. He says he's here to have fun, but you don't make that trip across, you know, the Atlantic Ocean if you're not here to mean business, right?
But his position in this race, if he carries on and goes into a first, second, or third place in this, and then performs again like that tomorrow, that could disrupt the whole rankings, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this, you know, we do have this point structure devised by our technical director Nico Lebrun, where, you know, athletes, they count their best 5 races and best 5 full distances and best 4 short tracks, and they have to include the World Championships in Malvino as well. So, yeah, it's a fair bit of maths that I'm not prepared to do in my head on air, Paul. But yeah, I mean, you just have to fight for every single position at every single point. Like I said, the easiest way to win the series is to win everything.
So we saw that Michele Bonacina is now, I think he's been edged out by Lucas Kochar. Is that Lucas Kochar in front?
Yeah,
it is.
Lucas Kochar coming to the front. I spoke to him after the weekend in Czech, and his big goal last year was to finally make the podium in the full distance, which I think affected his chances of his preferred discipline, the short track. You know, so he will be here ready to tear everybody apart.
I think this course will suit him as well, won't it? Very powerful athlete. The punchy climbs, there's not so much elevation.
And Lucas is somebody who just doesn't either have or respect the pain barrier.
No. I mean, some say that when Lucas Kochar pedals, the earth turns backwards. Yeah, certainly you can hear the ground shake and rumble when he comes past. But this guy is all raw power. You know, they make him tough in the Czech Republic, and I think he's going to probably turn the screw on lap 3. I think if we if history shows us anything, that this guy will just explode the race at some point.
But look at Ruben Rizafi. He's made his way up through there, and he's now in a good position. As the images unfold, it'd be good to see just how close he's now to the leader. We saw some of the age groupers out there on the course. If you pick out someone there with bluey green hair, that's going to be our regular attender, age group athlete from Austria, Christina Herbst. I think she's already qualified for Malvino, because a lot of the age groupers here, supporting the elite racing here, they're working their way to Malvino, which is the ultimate aim this year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Christina is one of our regulars, as we say. We have a lot of loyal followers, and our community is really strong, and you know, they will want to follow these races.
Oh, that was Francois V we just picked out. Francois missed the first couple of races on the circuit because he was doing something else on tarmac.
Being a professional road racer.
Yeah, but didn't he perform well in the Czech Republic?
Yeah, I mean, doing road races gives you a huge aerobic base, and then depending on the course, he can either use it or, you know, he'll lose the race. But he's an amazing guy. We've really seen him develop from being a junior into being a regular player at the top, at the front of the race. I think I can see the athlete's face in these routes. They look that shiny.
So Lucas Kochar ahead of the race, just over that jump nicely, through the berms. It looks like he's pulled out a bit of a gap on the rest of the men now.
So it was Kochar who won 2 of the races last year. It was Prakatica and in the Dolomites in Trentino.
Yeah, I think we could probably call him a short track specialist, to be fair. I think he's won more short track races than anybody else.
Well, he won here in 21, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at the gap he has now. And this is a gap on the best XTERRA athletes in the world.
Good grief.
And that's Ruben just attacking
already in
across the
second
sand.
position.
Yeah, we saw this, you know, last week. Ruben, he's one of our veterans, our elder statesman of the sport. So he knows his only chance is to use his biggest weapon on the bike to try and hold off these young guys. I think we will see Jens Emil in 3rd place as he hits this steep bank as well. Just seeing a big move from that guy.
Look at that technique.
I know,
it's Eric.
Yeah,
Eric's
but
still
Jens is sitting 3rd wheel in this group. There he is.
But all the favourites up there, Felix through there as well. He won.
So that was,
Felix won this race last year.
Yeah. So that was Lucas Kochar, Ruben Ruzafa, Eric Lagerstrom, Arthur Serrières, Felix Forissier, and Jens Emil Sloth.
That's one exciting front group, right?
Oh, very, very close, aren't they?
And they've only got 2 more laps left on this bike course, so if Rubens wanted to make his way to the front, he needs to make that move now.
Yeah, but this, this is earlier in the race than, we think about where Ruben attacked last week. We think about where Jens Emil reached the front of the race last week. We're a whole lap ahead. We're on, they didn't really make contact until right at the end.
And then we saw perhaps the effort that Ruben had put into the bike. He really paid for that on the run, but still held on to get a good finish. How much of their riding and attacking on this is going to be thinking ahead to tomorrow? Because they've got less than 24 hours to recover before the big one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, these guys are all professionals. They all train upwards of 20, 30 hours a week. They are doing interval training, hard efforts, heavy breathing on a regular basis. So for some athletes, this is just another day at the office. This is a way to open up the legs ahead of that race. For others, they may be thinking of tomorrow, but this is the beauty of the World Cup, is that you have to perform well at multiple races across a long season. Consistency is king in this format. So Ruben looks to be leading the chase behind Lucas Kochar, followed by Jens Emil Sloth-Nielsen, but Arthur Serrières looks like he's gritting his teeth. Oh no, we've got Lucas Kochar there. So Lucas has been absorbed back into the pack. So either there's been an incident in the woods, some shenanigans in the woods.
Well, we heard,
or he's just completely exploded.
Well, we heard from the women that there were some sections in there where it was really quite treacherous, and a simple misjudgment is going to take them out of that leading position. Spinazzi there, well, it's still in contention for a top 10.
Australian Tom Fisher just behind. So
is that Jens Emil?
Yeah, so it now looks like we have Ruben at the front of the race, followed by Jens Emil, followed by Arthur Serrières. And Lucas
Kochar back in 4th position.
So Jens Emil said, it's about time I won one of these. He's put himself into a position now, slightly ahead of Arthur Serrières. And on a course like this, with 1.5 laps to go, I wonder if he can do anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, he knows that he can outrun Ruben. He's done it on a regular basis this year, but he knows that he cannot outrun Arthur Serrières.
No.
So what Jens Emil needs to do is kind of make a decision. Does he chase Ruben and try and link up with him to get a gap before that last lap of the run, or before the last run leg of this race? Or does he sit there?
And he is chasing Ruben.
He is.
There we go. So he's trying to bridge across. And Arthur won't go with this. I don't think Arthur has the bike power on the flat to chase these guys. So Arthur's now going to have to make the decision to throw all his biscuits out of the tin and chase this front two and go very deep.
Lagerstrom being overtaken there by Farissier.
Yeah, like I say, Lagerstrom, I think, is being found out a little bit now. He's an incredible athlete. We're very lucky to have an athlete of his caliber come and race, but I think he's being found out by these short track specialists.
Oof, look at that, Jens Emil.
Yeah, so this is the moment that Jens will win or lose this race.
Well, we saw him overtake 16 people at this race last year, 18 people last weekend in Prachatice. He's the one who said, my gap is as wide as my handlebars, and we saw that then. Look at it, that's 3 meters already?
Yeah, for me, I think that gap's getting smaller that Jens allows himself these days. I think as long as your hands stay on the bars, racing is rubbing. Rubbing is racing. So, yeah, I would expect these two to push and try and really force an error from Serrières on this technical single track now. I mean, Serrières is visibly distressed in his face. You can see that he's going pretty deep, the world champion.
That's a 14-second lead they've got. The 3 front athletes, 14 seconds.
Yeah, we've got Lucas Kochar bringing the pace back, but there we go. So
now, was it in this section here that Francois V smashed the wheel?
I'm not sure. It wouldn't surprise me if Francois V. He takes no prisoners with his equipment. He really pushes everything. So I think we have a lapped athlete in here as well, which is wearing the OC kit, which I think is the local Patrick
Freiburg, I think, which is, I said, taking advantage of one of these wildcard athletes to put a local hero into the mix to see and test his mettle against these athletes.
Well, Nicole, we saw that last year with Kerry-Ann Upham given a wild card in Prachatica. As an age group athlete, she was given that opportunity to race, and she showed herself up to be, look at that, Arthur and Jens Emil ahead of Ruben.
Yep.
But this idea of an age group athlete having a chance to race with the best elite, a good move, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's great to see the age group athletes stepping up to race elite, but you've got to remember they've earned the right to be there. They've shown in their performances that they're good enough to race in the elite field.
Jules Zumar having an amazing race.
Yep, and he was strong in Prachatica as well. I'm not sure if that was a bird of prey or a drone.
Yeah, the media team are out with their FPV, their point of view drone.
They were so upset they couldn't take it out earlier. But the weather was, if you see the women's race earlier, it was an absolute whiteout at one point. But the surface is drying off quite nicely. How is that rain going to affect the main course for tomorrow?
I think if it stays dry, there won't be much change to the main course for tomorrow. There's only a couple of sections where there's some puddles and a little bit of water.
So Jens Emil comfortably in the lead now, attacking on those berms.
Yeah, like I said, he's taking the inside lines, getting a pedal stroke in everywhere. So this is where he really shows, like I said, his mountain bike prowess. You know, this guy finds speed absolutely everywhere. He'll probably pedal around this berm, I imagine.
Well, he said in his post-race interview last week that,
they're right behind him.
He said that he's the first to admit that his swimming is not the best. But when you look at his swim performances now compared to 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, he's made incredible improvements.
Yeah, so a nice clean dismount. Looks like all the three of these athletes. So, I mean, Jens is very self-depreciating when it comes to his swim. You know, we talk about his swim not being good. It's in relative to the other athletes. He could still outswim everyone I know who is sitting here watching the race on the couch. But he's made some big gains, but it's not just swimming. It's a triathlon. It's swim, bike, run, and the fastest guy is the winner at the finish line.
So heading out onto this run course, we've got 2 laps, 1.3 kilometres.
We've also got the very fastest runner on the XTERRA circuit there, Arthur Serrières, behind the very... Oh, is that the penalty box on the left? Nice. All the athletes who misbehave are bounced up and down for 5 minutes. Now, this is going to be very interesting. Is Arthur going to give him a chance, do you think?
Absolutely not. And I don't think Jens would want him to as well. Like, let's say Jens desperately wants to win one of these races, but these guys are all friends off the race course, and I think they want good, clean, fair racing, and everyone to have a good opportunity to win this. And it's literally decided by who's the strongest guy, who wants it the most. There are
Lucas and
no presents
Felix
given.
No. You mentioned the idea of a family. We've had a chance between Prachatica and here to see the athletes sitting down together, chatting together, going out together, working on the bikes together. You're right. This is a very much a family feeling, and it's lovely to see that there's this rivalry once the gun goes, but then the support they give each other.
Even to the extent of lending each other bikes when they have issues and problems.
That happened last week, didn't it? And who lent who to what?
Loan lent Felix her bike for the race.
That's right, because he smashed the wheel or something.
Yeah, I wonder if Felix is wishing he had Luan's bike today, because he hasn't been on our screens at all for some time. So maybe that's what made the difference last week.
Well, he's in 4th place at the moment.
There he is now.
Yeah, I think he's 5th behind Lucas. So first Jens Emil, second Arthur Serrières, Lucas Kochar in 3rd, Ruben in 4th, Felix in 5th. Now coming back to what you said, Nicole, I hope that our athletes feel like part of our family. You know, these guys aren't assets. You know, they are people, and I think everyone is real good people, and will look after each other. They'll kick 7 bells out of each other on this race course, but afterwards it's high fives and beers in the tent.
And the focus today is on the short course, tomorrow's on the long course. Of the European athletes, we think about 8 are going to be flying across the Atlantic to race in the States. And then, of course, it's the big one. And Molveno, it's not just the race, is it? We've got the short track. Well, we've got the opening ceremony first with that incredible food. It's like a top-class restaurant the way that they dressed it last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we have a whole host of activities. Obviously, there's the big dance, is the full distance championship race, but you know, we have short track there. We have an age group short track, so mere mortals will be able to test themselves against the same course these guys are racing in Italy. But for now, it looks like we have our first and second positions decided, but third place looks to be up for grabs still.
Well, they're changing this, but Max Chanet is dropping off the pace a little bit there. He's got that Lucas Kochar and Felix Forestier in front of him. Lagerstrom in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th place now.
There we go.
So yes, the short track for the age groupers, the relay, that is a fantastic concept.
Yeah, like I said, it's about giving opportunities and kind of increasing value for our age group field. Like I said,
you'll be televising that as well?
Yeah, we will be having a live stream of the age group mixed team relay, which will be fantastic. I mean, we can't promise to pick every single name out, but it's basically just wanting to try and share the love. You know, the live stream's a new thing, but we want to share it with everybody else. But back to this race, Paul.
Yeah, so Arthur Serrières taking the lead now. He's let Jens have it for a lap, and now he's decided, that's it, I'm going to the front.
So it seems like every week we see these guys going head-to-head.
And totally different running styles as well.
Yeah, I mean, Arthur is an extremely strong runner. I'm sure his ankles are made out of steel girders. The way this guy never rolls his ankle, never trips up, never seems to change speed up and down. Whereas, like I say, whereas Jens is, you can see how much effort he's putting into every single stride. Like I say, just pulling out, he's going to 10 meters to 12 meters, or the chin goes down from.
But he also looked over his shoulder there once again, just to make sure his position is secured, because he knows that between the two of them, they've put in a phenomenal amount of distance.
Huge effort from Felix Forestier going up the hill.
It looks like he's closed that gap a little bit as well.
Yeah, so obviously Felix has moved into third position here. Oh, and Arthur's absolutely blown this apart now.
Yeah, he's really opened up that gap to Jens. And Jens looks like he's starting to hurt a little bit now.
And also possibly thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah. So I need to go to the finish line. We're on lap 2, so I will head down there for the finish line interviews. Yeah,
well, Doug, thanks very much. And let's have some great interviews as you did with the women.
Yeah, I'll channel my inner Arthur Serrières and get over there pretty quick, eh?
So second lap of 2. Not long to go now, but before we see our winner of the 2023 XTERRA Germany short track.
And big waves from the crowds there. And behind us, we've got a team of the media people working frantically, looking at the results and ready to hit the button to do the calculations so we can see and show you just how much this performance has changed the overall rankings. But looking at Arthur Serrières, Arthur Serrières has won 1, 2, 3, 4 previous short tracks. Prachatice back in 2020, Pujol in France 2021, Pelham in the States earlier this year, and of course in Prachatice last weekend.
Yeah, so Arthur's already won 2 short track events this year, so he's obviously very good at this shorter distance.
Well, we say that, but he's also the world champion, having won in Molveno last year.
Yep. So I think our top 3 positions are still going to be our same athletes that we saw on the podium for last week's race, but just in a slightly different order. So Arthur Serrières still out the front, Jens Emil second position.
Just a glimpse there of Lagerstrom. Not quite sure where his position is. It's in the top 5 or 6. But Jens Emil looking comfortably there in silver.
Although Felix not too far behind. But Jens doesn't want to let up too much, else he might find Felix catching him.
Lucas Kochar holding on to that 4th. Ruben 5th.
Yeah, Max Echani 6th positions as well. So these positions from sort of 5th onwards are still all to play for.
Lagerstrom in 7th there. But what Doug mentioned about the strength in his ankles. As you jump from there, your brain is telling you where you're going to put your feet. And it's uneven, it's irregular, but he has that power, doesn't he? That strength and stability.
Yeah, he's so precise. He knows exactly where he's going to put his foot. He just floats down that technical descent.
Well, Arthur will be hearing the crowd shouting and screaming for him now because he's within sight of the finish. And no doubt Chun, our commentator down at the finish, will be whipping the crowds into a ferment because, once again, the world champion
just covering that ground so quickly.
Making it look so easy. Now, we did wonder, when he kept his crash helmet on during the press conference, whether he'd shaved all of his hair off. But no, it's still all there. Wonderful overhead shots there.
Onto that red carpet.
Oh, he's going to feel good for this.
So his third short track win of 2023.
But Jens Emil very close behind him.
A hard-fought second place for Jens.
But that's, if he could swim as fast as Arthur Serrières, he would be unbeatable.
And then a great run from Felix coming in to round out the podium in third place.
Lukas Kocher, Ruben Ruzafa and Erik Lagerstrom. Yes, it's been pain all the way. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does tomorrow. Max Chanet, knocking up those points, keeping it going.
6th place for Max today.
Bit of respect there for Ruben Ruzafa.
Yeah, not quite having it his way on the bike today. And you can see the effort the guys put out on this course. Half an hour of flat out racing. There really is no rest anywhere.
No. I said to Ruben yesterday, what was your heart rate when you did that short track last weekend in Prachatica? He said, I have no idea. François V, obviously he hasn't used all the energy he should. Dumas, our powerful swimmer from France, but look at this, Kieran McPherson, a Kiwi.
Yeah, what close racing today. I think this is even closer than we saw it last weekend.
It was, yes. Michele Bonaccina from Italy there.
Theo Duprat.
And Duprat, a very strong collection of French athletes in that leading group. Vivien, but look at this. Scott Anderson has beaten Jens Roth. What's going to happen on the long one? Scott will be delighted with that. His mum and dad are both racing in the long one tomorrow. Mum's already qualified for Molveno, and it's a bit of a focus for Ian, the father, who wants desperately to get that qualification for Molveno. Behind this venue is a huge caravan site, and there are collections of German clubs. And they have a great atmosphere up there, but they're all focused for tomorrow. We're now going to move our focus down to the finish line because hoping Doug is wired up and ready to go with the first of the interviews. Over to you, Doug.
Okay, an amazing race for you today, Felix. 3rd place. Talk us through your day.
Yeah, it was a day really difficult. The guys before me was really strong. So on the bike I was so and yes, I think it's on the bike I'll lose the race and yeah, that's it. I'm happy to finish 3rd and it's great to see different people on the podium and yeah, I'm happy about this race.
Yeah, we were watching the live stream and you're almost invisible until the run. The first time we saw you was pulling this crazy pain face as you just overtook everybody on the run. I mean, how hard did you have to go?
Yeah, the run was really hard for me. The first run was first lap, sorry, really hard, and I tried to push a lot to go in the front of the race, but after the first lap I see it will not possible, and yeah, after I have to manage me a little for tomorrow.
Well, congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
I think there we heard I need to focus a little bit for tomorrow.
So once he got into that third place, he knew he wasn't going to catch up to second and first. Save a bit in the tank for the big race tomorrow.
But less than 24 hours to recover. That's it's a big ask, isn't it?
I mean, it's a fairly short race. Like Doug said, these athletes train for these sorts of sessions. So they'll be used to having to recover quickly, ready for the next session that they do. So they'll rest up, they'll get some good food, good nutrition, and be ready to go again tomorrow.
And there's another big event happening tomorrow here in Zittau after the race.
Oh, the party.
One of the biggest, isn't it?
I think so, yes.
But what a venue. This, for recreation, the city of Zittau has invested so much money and effort to create this venue into the place to come and the place to relax. There are restaurants, camping sites. There's a village which has been constructed, which is slightly out of view. And that's where all of the volunteers will be looked after and fed and supported. We're now ready to go and have a quick chat with Doug and Jens Emil.
Yeah, Jens, another amazing race. It looks like you really took it to them out there today. They really had to work for that.
Yeah, I had. Yeah, I also had to work for it as well. So it's not only my competitors, but it was a great race. Really good mountain bike from Arthur. I didn't expect that he could follow my wheel, but it seemed like he glued himself onto my back wheel, and then he's a hard runner. It's like having Kipchoge to run with.
Yeah, it looks like you are the guy that influences these races. You know, everyone is looking over their shoulder on that first lap of the bike, just waiting for you to come and basically decide the race.
I don't know. Yeah, well, I had the thought about that, but maybe it's true. I don't know. I just do it to have fun and race hard, and sometimes it seems like when I get around, they start to race, but that's okay. It's nice that you wait for me.
And looking ahead towards tomorrow, like anything left in the tank, or do you worry about that another day?
No, definitely. I'm all good for tomorrow. This is it's a good leg opener. I hope I heard Arthur as build as well, and but we'll race it out again tomorrow. It's a great mountain bike course.
Amazing. I think everybody at XTERRA is so desperate for you to win one of these. The whole community is really going to will you on tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. It will come when it will come. And I think it's going to be an avalanche when I start winning. Then they'll come back to back. So I'm ready for it. But for now, I just enjoy racing.
Thank you. Amazing work.
Well, I think that's just predicted the future. It's going to come in an avalanche. And I'm so looking forward to seeing this happen. We'll be waiting now to hear from our race winner. Once again, we'll be hearing an interview with Arthur Serrières. It's becoming quite a ritual, isn't it? Short track, Arthur Serrières, short track, Arthur Serrières. But he works hard.
He's so good at the shorter distance, but also the longer distance as well.
And it's pure hard work on his part. He's been at altitude for quite some time before coming here.
Yeah.
But now down to earth, almost at sea level, down to the finish line for Arthur Serrières.
Okay, Arthur, looks like another dominant performance today, but it looked like you were just either patient or just looking for others to make the race on the bike and then just do what you do best on the run.
Yeah, each time in Germany it's the same. I think for everyone say we will go easy because we have a long race tomorrow, and during the race everyone still a beast. So yeah, I try to manage the run when I catch Jens Emil, to just keep some energy for tomorrow, and I'm pretty happy to take the win here. My coach just said to me, don't give any energy. You train 35-hour a week. It's not for be a pussy like you said, and you have to win the kid race, and maybe tomorrow you can win the adult race because you don't want any this year instead. So yeah, I try and we will see. I'm pretty happy. It's a good session for Molveno, and I'm just hoping for everyone have a good recovery for tomorrow and another battle like that. But I think it will be really hard with this heat and humidity.
And it looked like the bike has really made it difficult for you there. Like first Ruben attacking, then Jens trying to bridge across, really just trying, it's almost like them working together to try and beat you.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I just managed the bike to stay in the front that's my strategy on each races, long or short races. I know I'm a good runner, so I can just run fast and win the race just on a run, but I think most of my opponents know right now if they want to win against me, they have to push very fast on the bike or take a gap on the bike. So each time they try to push at maximum to try to just keep me like a bit far from her, a bit far from them. And yeah, today that's a good day. So yeah.
Okay, and very shortly, just tell us briefly about what it means to win another race here in Germany and another XTERRA World Cup, but in French.
Je suis content de gagner un autre short track ici et j'ai vraiment hâte d'être demain pour la grande course et que tout le monde récupère bien et qu'on ait une super course un peu comme aujourd'hui.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
So Arthur really happy there, and also making sure he focuses for the big race tomorrow, and hope everyone can recover. He made a comment there about he's had to work really hard. The others are working hard to push him. Do you think that that's increased the intensity in their race in the same way that Alizée and
Solenne
have upped the...
I mean, definitely. I mean, Arthur, he's a fantastic runner. So if the guys want to beat him, they've got to beat him on the swim and the bike. So it pushes the pace on the bike, and then it means that the whole race is so much faster.
Would you say that having introduced the short track, which is very much a showcase, that's pushed the level even higher and brought the whole XTERRA racing performance levels higher?
It definitely has. I mean, we see a lot more technical features in the short track than what we do out on the course. So the athletes have had to work on their skills as well, which only makes you go faster when you come to the main race. You're technically better, so you're able to save a lot more energy. It requires less mental power. So overall, the racing just gets better and it gets faster.
So our medals, or our rewards.
So and of course, for a third position today.
Yeah, and big shout out to Arthur, his brother, and wishing him a speedy recovery. Hopefully we'll see him in Molveno, or hear him. Jens Emil.
But all these guys really enjoying the battles that the short track racing is bringing, that close racing. Top of the podium again, Arthur Serrières. Did what he needed to do today.
And he did it in a very tactical manner by allowing Jens Emil to really drag him round on the run, creating that lead over Felix.
Yeah, conserved his energy and then kicked for that.
It was interesting to hear that you're all supposed to take it easy because you've got the big one tomorrow, but of course once it started, they all kicked.
Yes. So they're all racers.
That's going to be a good photograph as well. And look at that. He's even got the glass in the right position so the branding is... That's a sign of a truly professional athlete. Branding. He knows what's going on. So Arthur Serrières, now winner of 5 short track races.
So we see our World Cup ranking points here. Jens Emil at the top still, Arthur Serrières in second, and Felix Frisier in third position. But like we say, it's all still to play for.
But those top 3, they've got quite a gap between ahead of Ruben and Sebastian Carabin. It's a shame Sebastian's not here today, because on that course tomorrow he would be spectacular, wouldn't he?
Yeah, so tomorrow's points are going to be really important. But I think this World Cup is going to be decided in Molveno.
Yes, and certainly not the easiest of courses. The event that's going to be taking place next week, the next one in Beaver Creek, isn't it?
Yes.
How challenging is that?
I mean, the travel is fairly challenging as well. You've got to count the travel into your recovery as well, and flying halfway across the world, it's not easy.
No. So I'm wondering, I'll be looking very closely at the results from Beaver Creek and then focusing what's going to happen in Molveno. So we're going to move now to some of the highlights, and don't forget everybody, the next live track you'll be able to see will be in Molveno, in the Dolomites.
Yeah, but the 2023 World Championships.
Yes, and it's not just the short track for the elite, it's the short track for the age group as well, and the broadcast of the whole of the elite race. And we'll keep the feed open, hopefully, and show as many age group athletes as possible, because it's about everybody, isn't it? So, highlights coming up, and from Nicole.
Yep, thanks for joining us today.
And thank you.